Above the Lingjiang River, Bishwavan Bay, but at this time it was very lively. The clouds above the river surface, occasionally I saw a little bit of blue light flashing, the turbid waves emptied, and the fierce water waves were overwhelming, and they would rush at any time. A group of villagers were looking at the center of the Lingjiang River vigorously at the water's edge, shivering and looking nervous. This ferry master insists on subduing the river for them, which is really against their intentions. What if I lose? What if the river wants to slaughter the village? Just in case. At this time, above the water, the little bit of blue light splits up, showing its original shape. When you look closely, it is actually a piece of illusory talisman. They are beautiful like a bright moon on the waterway, firmly suppressing part of the white wave water. Lushan Fulo? Are you a Lushan Taoist? No matter where you are, you can dare to come here to cast down demons and slay demons just because of this insignificance. There was a big laugh in the white waves, and a murky fish monster jumped out. This fish monster circled the waterway here for a long time, and saw that the waterway here is unowned, and wants to steal the water system's inspiration to improve its own way. I saw this fish monster with a burly body, black scales, holding a 3-strand water halberd, and wearing a star crown. For the spoiler who suddenly came out, his eyes were full of ferocious eyes. In the white waves, 3 water-dividing halberds in his hand were raised, and a long river phantom flashed away on the water-dividing halberd. In an instant, above the sky, like thousands of white waves condensed and vented down. The long river has a turbulent shadow and brilliance, filling the waterway, but it suddenly stagnated in a flash. Lushan talisman can't hold you down, don't you see if it can hold you down? Amidst the big waves, a Taoist appeared inside. This Taoist looked like a young man who had never grown up. He was 13 or 14 years old, with a blue gourd tied around his waist and long hair draped on his back. At this time, his whole body exuded a frenzy. Incomparably wild and powerful. Rumbling. The water of Lingjiang is boiling. The eyes of the young Taoist instantly turned into golden vertical pupils, and the scaly horns of his forehead grew, and his figure was getting longer and thicker. The whole body was bathed by thousands of thunder rays, and the golden scales were shining in the clouds. Steel teeth or forest? Roar! Hearing the earth-shattering dragon chant, a group of villagers on the river bank turned pale, their legs were weak, and they knelt on the ground. Jiao Long! And it's a golden Jiao! I saw the golden dragon head protruding from the sky full of clouds, and the thunder and dark clouds spread, making people afraid to look directly at it. That is a real beast. Dragon! Are you a dragon spirit? The fish demon has been eclipsed in amazement. Under its feet, the waters of the Lingjiang River are tumbling. The many aquariums it brings are like drowning in the tumbling waves, locked by an invisible demon, and bound in the water waves. The fierce monster air feels cut and inserted into the internal organs, and the whole body can't move. Can the carp essence be stronger than the water dragon? Jiao Longjing? Your whole family is Jiao Longjing. The Jin Jiao was furious when he heard the words, with cold eyes in his eyes. Although the fish monster wanted his family to be dragon spirits, but at this moment, he was so scared that he was so frightened that a big fat black fish appeared in its original form, thinking it is necessary to disturb the waterways of the Lingjiang River and take advantage of the situation to slip away. But the huge dragon figure pressed against the waterway, and the dragon figure wandered away, bringing huge pressure on the fat black fish. Call the wind and call the rain, disease. The dragon howls for 9 days. The wind and rain are like obscurity, galloping in, ancient inheritance, the dragon walks through the water, and manipulating the rain is almost the instinct of the dragon. Black fish monster's amazing demon energy was completely suppressed, the dragon claws ripped apart, and the entire demon body exploded and was directly pinched to death by Jin Jiao. This awe-inspiring demon aura radiated, covering the sky, not only the remaining Lingjiang aquatics trembling, but also the monsters in other Lingshan rivers also trembling. Thousands of beasts face the king. Although the golden dragon is not a real dragon, the dragon is a natural superior. The Dragon Lord has appeared. By the Ling Shui River, a group of villagers have already screamed. In their opinion, the immortal master they invited was transformed into a dragon. It was the Dragon King who came in person. It must be the river who did not guard the sky, so this Dragon King incarnation was born. Come personally to subdue the demons and demons. After Jin Jiao killed the He Yu Jing, the water and clouds all over his body suddenly turned into a human form silently. S figure floated around, and disappeared after falling into the water. Lanja Wang family is the most common surname in Lanja Wang's family. The Wang family has settled in Lanja for a long time, and there are many talents, many officials, and the reputation is very impressive. Generations of hairpins, heirs of poetry and books, wealthy family members, daily worship, intended for princes. Wang Tongban is Lanja County Tongban, and it is also a 5-bedroom house. Through the sentence of the mansion, the invisible rich brilliance bloomed, and a faint purple light flashed away. A young man in a golden gown of gossip appeared in the study. His eyebrows were clear and beautiful, but his expression had a transcendent sense of purity and inaction. He glanced at his outfit, and quickly changed into a well-fitting white robe Confucian student uniform. His face was full of books and elegance. Delicate and pretty. At this time, he opened his palm, golden light bloomed, a golden dragon appeared above his palm, and auspicious clouds bloomed. The golden dragon's scales and dragon beard were all visible, strands of golden light gleamed on the dragon, and the golden dragon curled its neck. With its head high and prancing in the air, the dragon's beard and eyes are flaring, the mouth is long and beard, the scales are sharp, the elbow hair is like a sword, and the long dragon body stirs the clouds and is unstoppable. Only at this time, the golden bird gradually faded away, turning into a stream of light from the palm of the hand and sinking into the body. The use of the golden dragon template is over, and a permanent ability is acquired, golden dragon energy. Do you give up? Wang Yuan touched his chin and looked at this panel strangely. This panel is his golden finger, in charge of the panel. Executive panel, accumulate the power of merit. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com awakens and appears as a ruling template, and the use time is a stick of incense. After using it, you can permanently obtain an ability on the executive board, either for martial arts, or for blood, or for supernatural powers. Last time, he finally got together 100 small skills and awakened the golden dragon template. This is the white template on the penultimate level on that volume. The black template is the last one, and the white template is on top of the black template. There are red templates on the white templates, golden templates on the red templates, and more powerful templates on the golden templates. The golden dragon template is not a tyrannical creature on the Dao scroll, but there are real templates on it, including the rumored true body of the 12 ancestor witch, and even the golden crow demon emperor. Of course, to awaken such a terrifying powerhouse template, it must take a lot of merit. Wang Yuan's eyes have a look of leisurely yearning. I don't know how much gold is needed to awaken those powerful templates that move the stars and the moon between raising their hands. Slightly converging the ripples in his heart, Wang Yuan shifted his gaze to his eyes. But this golden dragon chi is quite a troublesome thing, is it still not? At the same time, another line of golden light appeared on the template, the number of merits, 300 small merits. The new book is still in the brain. The story is merged. The subject matter should be the starting point. The story is king. Please support from the old iron, ask for collection, ask for votes, ask for book list. Personality, quality assurance. After all, I am Xiao Menxin. Xiao Menxin dare not speak loudly. This time our story is going to be a little deeper and harder. The type of new book has come out, and the style of this book will change. For every Xiao Menxin who is aspiring to start, grades are actually very important, but the more important thing should be their own growth. Every book can some gains, of course. In the next book, I can't help but practice it and test myself. I don't know what the future results of this book will be, but I hope I can still make some progress and live up to the growth of more than 2 years. Finally, I would like to ask for a wave of recommendation votes from the old iron. I don't want to invest in new books, collections, book lists, and I don't want to invest in new books. If everyone feels generous, just vote. Has already signed a contract, but the status should be changed until the next Monday afternoon, or Tuesday. Take the opportunity to save the paper. A gleam of light flashed under Wang Yuan's eyes. The various templates in the executive template also have strengths and weaknesses. The most obvious distinction is the number of merit points consumed. The strongest black template extraction requires just 300 little work. You get what you pay for. This executive template has always been childish. But it doesn't mean that all these merits must be spent. The merits are hard to come by. This time we got rid of the black fish spirit who hunted for blood, and finally made 300 small merits. The power of merit is not small. Don't waste resources. Wang Yuan thought for a while, and took out a small blue gourd from his big sleeve. This small blue gourd is the most powerful magic weapon in his hand. Is an ancient artifact that was found together when the Shangqing talisman was obtained. This Shangqing treasure talisman comes from Deluoguan outside Wuiyang County, Lanzhou County. The Deluoguan is a ruined house and was found by Wang Yuan, who has always searched for secrets. It is a supreme artifact, containing 12 sky blue star sands, which is quite magical. It wasn't it that Wang Yuan wanted to temper, and with a flick of his hand, it suddenly floated on the carved table on the side. At this time, Wang Yuan had a layer of white mana circulating around his body, and the white mist was condensed, transporting Zhou Tian in his body, vaguely manifesting several talisman seeds in the middle danshan. There are soul-staying talisman, corpse talisman, heart-cleaning talisman, Zhenhai talisman. That is the prototype of the natal talisman. Shangqing Baofu is a method of Fula school, and it is also an extremely pure Taoist method of multiplication. Once this kind of Taoist school has a solid foundation, the problem is the water milling skills. Even for monks with excellent qualifications like Wang Yuan, it took several years to condense the 4 talisman seeds. While Wang Yuan was meditating, a little bit of white spiritual fog rolled in the middle danshan, and then 3 more talisman seeds condensed and appeared from the middle danshan. With the appearance of these 3 talisman, Wang Yuan noticed that a burst of inspiration was thrown into the middle danshan, nourishing the whole body, and turning into mana into the middle danshan. Mana increased by 30%. The magic power cultivated in Shangqing treasure talisman is related to the number and quality of the talisman seed that oneself condenses. Thunderfall talisman, confinement talisman, nectar talisman. Perceiving the appearance of the 3 talisman seeds, Wang Yuan was not surprised. Xing Yun Bure is the magical power of the dragon. However, Wang Yuan was somewhat pleased. The 3 talisman seeds were all extraordinary talisman. Especially the appearance of the falling thunder talisman, this is the first time the thunder talisman appeared in his talisman. La Fa talisman is extremely powerful among many talisman. Wang Yuan has always looked forward to it. In addition, the 4 existing talismans may also have a chance to go further here. Especially Zhenhai Fu. Wang Yuan runs the magical powers of the dragon's life, and he has another comprehension. Zhenhai talisman is one of the 2 strongest talisman in Shangqing treasure talisman. This kind of talisman can be used as the true talisman of the natal in the future, and it is hoped that it will be transformed into the true talisman of the innate. Wang Yuan burned incense to bathe, and then lit 3 concentrating incense on the side table, slowly sinking into a calm state. With a clear seal in his hand, he began to sculpt the magic talisman in the depths of the middle danshan, which was like an icy blue spiritual orb phantom. Lanzhou County, located in the southeast of the Central Plains, is rich in people and rich in resources. Wang Xiaoheng stepped into the regular 6th grade pass judgment sequence in his unconventional years, and made up for a lack of fat. The achievements can only be regarded as not high or low. Lan Zhiwang's family is famous in the southeast, but Wu Fang is not so prominent in the Wang clan, but the Sun clan is quite satisfied. Although Wang Tongwan is not a high-ranking official, he is prosperous, but he does well. She gave birth to 2 sons and 3 daughters for Wang Tongzhen. Both sons are filial mothers, and the 3 daughters are also ladies and winners in life. But at this moment, I feel a little headache. It's not that some officials dared to give the master to Tongpan's wife, nor was it that someone who had eaten Xiangxin leopard dared to hook up with Tongpan's sister, but that Hengwu yard raised a lot of strange sweet beasts. Out of the basket early. Hengwu courtyard is an excellent garden in Tongpan Mansion. The garden is quite unique. The pear flower courtyard, which was exquisite in the Chinese dynasty, melts the moon, and the catkins pond is breezy. This is a true symbol of wealth and wealth. To other furnishings nowadays, no matter how luxurious and expansive the furnishing is, it is also a nouveau riche in the eyes of real scholars. There is a rockery pond in the courtyard of Hengwu. Naturally, there are many precious flowers. The mistress of Tongshen Fuzhong, the Sun clan, fears that his son will be lonely in his studies, so from time to time, people buy some rare flowers and send them over. Wang Tongzhen has used this as a pet boarding garden in recent days. There are many beasts in the garden, including white tortoises, white arowanas, grey birds, and red geese. Wang Tong's sentence was not for his own arty, but for the flattery of the current capital. Since the official said in the Daking Hall that there is a room for the gods in the night, and there are several books of the heavens passed by the gods, the officials from all over the world have become popular. After this satellite launching movement, some people offered Golden Harvest, some called Dragon Seen in the Clouds, and some called Dragon Seen in the Clouds, and others said that the daylight sees Xiaguang King Yun. Wang Tongwan was a bit conservative and covered in this campaign of offering Rulai. He took care of the faces of famous families, but he searched for a few Rui beasts in various places and prepared to send them to the capital. In the movement of offering auspiciousness everywhere, there is already a relatively mature model. The 5 spirits were born as Jiarui, those with celestial phenomena are Derui, the beasts are Shangrui, the birds are Zongrui, and the various jade plants are Xiarui. For these sweet beasts, Master Wang Shaoheng spent a lot of manpower and material resources and searched for a long time, but today there was a problem. All of a sudden, the Rui beasts in Hengwu courtyard were shocked. Many Swiss beasts are scared to death. Next to the lotus pond in Hengwu Yuan, the sun had just begun to rise at this time, and the sun had become venomous. Several little maids and family members were pale. Beside the lotus pond, a woman in dark blue plain clothes looked at the lotus pond with a blank face, unconsciously wringing a veil in her hands. What the is going on? Who did it? Next to, 2 middle-aged beautiful women stood silently, one of them with a cold face and bad eyesight. Several white dragon fishes of excellent appearance in the lotus pond have turned their belly, and a white tortoise is also lethargic at the moment. What is even more worrying is that hundreds of meters away, a few black geese in the cages. White Wolf and Kitu are already tough one by one. Madam for mercy, second housekeeper for mercy, the villain and others take turns to guard these beasts, never slack, but these beasts screamed for no reason at the time of Mao. If they were greatly frightened, I could not calm them down even after I tried my best. For a while, these beasts are already alive and scared. The villain is incompetent, and I also ask Mrs. the housekeeper to see that there are young and old in the villain and others, and spare the life of the villain. The grey-clothed middle-aged man headed by him was already sweating and fell to his knees. The round-faced beautiful woman stared at the grey-clothed middle-aged man for a while, and then spoke softly. Madam, I don't think he lied. This beast feeder only has this ability, and he has no guts to deceive his wife. The Sun family trusts the round-faced beautiful woman. This round-faced beautiful woman and another housekeeper were both dowry by the Sun family, and they even ate the milk of a nanny together. But what should I do now? Madam, the master has already reported these beasts. How can these beasts look like these now? The son's expression was dignified. He glanced at the children of the family, looked at another middle-aged beautiful woman for a moment, and said in a deep voice, "Go, find Jiro." At this moment, son's expression is a bit strange. Mother! What happened to this? Wang Yuan still looks respectful even though he has Sui and knows some secrets about him. The grace of health is worthy of his efforts to protect the Sun family. Erlang, there was an accident with Rui Beast in Hengwu courtyard, is it related to you? Screened back left and right, leaving two housekeepers. The Sun family looked up and down Wang Yuan in front of him. As he looked around, he looked a little surprised, as if he saw some probing look. Wang Yuan's eyebrows moved, but Sun's words revealed a lot of things. The Sun family looks quite mysterious, and Wang Yuan also knows this very well. He knows the Sun family's methods better than anyone else. Although Sun thinks he is hiding deeply, he has Su Hui. In front of a newly born child, no one will deliberately guard. However, Wang Yuan felt that it would be impossible for the Sun family to perceive all the secrets in him, and at most only a part of it, such as perceiving him to start practicing. After all, Sun stayed in that place. Wang Yuan glanced over the white arowanas with white belly in the lotus pond, and paused for a few breaths on these auspicious who were alive and frightened, and then swept across them in a flash, and said solemnly to the Sun family, "Mother, the child has always been honest and duty-bound. During this time, I have also been studying hard in the study to prepare for the trial of the Ministry of Rites. How can it harm the spirit beasts in the garden?" Sun snorted when he heard the words. "Is this little monkey honest? You are the most dishonest in Fuzhong. Will be tossing when I was young." But looking at the little son who was licking his face and pretending to be honest, Sun's doting in his eyes was not reduced by half, but he said in his mouth, "Not your best." He said with concern, "In recent days, Erlang, you have to be temperamental and don't run around. The ritual trial will begin in half a year. Our family is a scholar, a heir to poetry, and some of your uncles. At this age, many of you have been enrolled in high school. You have been smart since you were young, and you have been quite famous in Lanja County at a young age, but don't go too far, despise the imperial examination, and add hatred." Mentioned the imperial examination of the Ministry of Rites, Sun's expression condensed, and the doting in his eyes became extremely solemn. Was born in a big family, it is impossible not to pay attention to the imperial examination. After the imperial examination, it is not necessary to be an official, but it is the foundation of one's life and advance and retreat freely. Wang Yuan brought Sun's expression into his eyes, with a faint expression. He was not resistant to the imperial examination, he was good at practicing in public, especially in this special country. This Song dynasty is somewhat specious, at least in his impression. The Song dynasty did not set up Lanja County. And there are more Lingshan and Dachuan here than he imagined, no weaker than the 5 sacred mountains, everywhere. So, what about the Swiss beast in Hengwu courtyard? Erlang, Wei Niang remembers that there are some useful people under your hand, let them do it, I believe it can be done well. Yes. Wang Yuan touched his nose and arched his hands. Sun took a leisurely look at Wang Yuan, hummed, turned and left. She was not worried that Wang Yuan would not be able to complete the task. Although these rich beasts are very rare. The two women glanced at Wang Yuan with some concern, and the round-faced woman stepped forward. "Second son, don't blame your wife. Your wife has always been such a temperament. The wife is strict in her mouth and actually cares about brother Yuan very much. Mother Lu, I can save it. The second son is good." After a slight pause, Lu Jiao's family said again, "Second son, don't look at the scenery of his wife these years, in fact, he has been very conscientious, the master's colleagues are full of brains, and they may give it to the master when he can give it to him. Little vixen, for the sake of 2 brothers and 3 sisters, the wife's hair has become a lot whiter in recent years, and the brother must fight for his wife to come back with incense and plug the mouths of other rooms. 3 butlers also said another beautiful woman with a melon face. Now the little fairies in every room are arranging wives. They are actually jealous. They can't control the affairs of their own rooms. The eagle doesn't care about the chicks. Wang Yuan said, Mother, you said. I believe in your evil. It's the master to live hard and work hard, right? Wang Yuan was spitting out in his heart. Don't look at Wang Tongjuan's big airing outside. When he returned home, he might not be able to beat Sun's rules, nor was it that there were no officials to send the young lady to the Tongwan first, but there was no good fruit after looking back. Sun is serious about protecting the calf. In the West Wing, the old lady in the Buddhist hall successfully stuffed the young lady into Master Wang, but which one succeeded in getting a firm foothold, in front of the wife's rules, one by one, like a quail. Even the old lady didn't care about it in the end. One ran into the nunnery, seeing it all. But these rich beasts in Hengwu courtyard were all scared to death. It was indeed his pot. When dealing with the golden dragon Qi, a trace of dragon power leaked out, allowing these fake beasts to appear, and the result was scared to death. This was not in his plan. The golden dragon's air is more fascinating than imagined. While thinking about it, Wang Yuan walked to the lotus pond. There was a little white turtle at his feet listlessly pulling his short legs. Wang Yuan subconsciously pulled out the hairpin on his head and poked it. Pity this little thing has no strength at all. The big mung bean eyes looked at Wang Yuan pitifully. Second young master. Behind him, at this time, 2 children in short clothes hurried over, and after a salute, they waited for their son to speak. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com. OK. Lord. Wang Yuan has no expression on his face. Can this be done in 3 days? 3 days later, the Imperial Commissioner will come to hand over these auspicious gifts. Return to the Lord, it is enough. This figure replied without any hesitation. In fact, Wang Tongzhen was able to find so many beasts in such a short period of time, and they were also credited with them. Otherwise, with Wang Tongzhu's ability, how could luck be so good? It happens that there are so many beasts popping up right now. Naturally, there are still some stocks at the bottom of the box. Wang Yuan nodded slightly. This reply still satisfied him. These forces are not the forces of the Tongji mansion, but a part of his family. He hasn't been idle when he comes here. Since he has the ability to protect himself, he has bought a lot of family properties for himself. For example, they have opened hundreds of inns. These inns are not only responsible for making money, but they have also trained a lot of useful confidants. They will also consciously remember the businessmen and part of the conversation. Wang Yuan didn't want to do anything deliberately, he just wanted to build big data to accumulate a little advantage for his own inn, but later found out that it is also useful for gathering intelligence. The black fish spirit is the clue they found. And those cheats from Wangjialanghuan Academy also come from this way. Hesitated slightly, and for a moment, one of the figures took a deep breath and gritted their teeth. Lord, there is one more thing. Our people did find the Lanruo temple mentioned by the sun in Jinhua. We sent a few waves of people to investigate, all in and out. The nectar talisman in Wang Yuan's hand flashed away, turning into an imperceptible white glow sticking to the palm of his hand and falling into the body of the little white turtle, but his expression changed. This is a bit interesting. Wang Yuan narrowed his eyes slightly. This is a famous spot in Liaozai. But I'm afraid it's more than just Liaozai. Wang Yuan also discovered that some civilian officers and generals in this world are guarded by natal stars, such as the famous Bao Hezi in Kaifeng Mansion, and even when Xingjun came to the world himself. However, Wang Yuan didn't care about these things. The little white tortoise in his hand received a sweet rain charm, and he immediately recovered some vitality. Wanting to escape Wang Yuan's palm, his short legs struggled hard but couldn't escape between the slender fingers. Anxiously, he opened his mouth and wanted to bite. It was just the fingertips. With a bullet, he immediately retracted into the tortoise shell. Go! Wang Yuan smiled at this, and threw the little white turtle into the lotus pond. Behind them, the two of them glanced at each other, and secretly breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that the master was in a pretty good mood. Lan Ruo Temple, you don't have to worry about it in the future. Yes. Seeing the two sweating profusely, Wang Yuan cast a glance. Is the tree demon grandma very strong? Is really strong. But as far as he is concerned, this 1000-year tree demon may not be as strong, and it won't take long for him to awaken a more powerful executive template. But the distance is real. It was impossible for Wang Yuan to run from Lanja County to Liangzhi before he had obtained the rushing spell he prepared. In this primitive world, the mountains are high and the roads are far away, and many ordinary people have not even walked out of the county where they are in their entire lives. Not everyone has such a high-end transportation tool as a horse-drawn carriage. Using a pair of feet to measure tens of miles will make people lose confidence in life, not to mention the costs along the way, and the diseases they face along the way. Danger! Wing 5 and Wing 6 were really relieved from the bottom of their hearts. The things that Wang Yuan asked them to collect were their most taboo things. Even as people in the rivers and lakes, their scalp numb when they listen to such secret things. Be careful to get into trouble for the upper body. They are not afraid of fighting, not afraid of torture, but they really shudder at those weirdness. After clearing up his mood, Na Yuliu stood up and arched his hands. In addition, there are some news that the master may be interested in. We found that many martial artists are rushing to Lanja County. It is rumored that someone has discovered an ancient tomb in Lanja County. Oh! Wang Yuan's eyes moved. Wing 6 hurriedly said, it is the tomb left by a leader of the demon cult before he sat down. It is said that there are hidden treasures of the demon cult and a part of the inheritance classics of the demon cult. Wang Yuan stood up from the lotus pond, lacking in interest. The demon sect is the leader of the evil faction in the martial arts. The demon sect powers the martial arts. As a member of the martial arts, Wang Yuan is very interested in these things, but since he left the circle, Wang Yuan has become unwilling to hear the news of the outer circle. How interested! What's more, Wang Yuan is a little skeptical. This is not just a myth, but a prehistoric. Wang Yuan waved his hand slightly, indicating that Yuwu and Yilu were ready to leave, but before leaving, Wang Yuan's clear and indifferent voice came from afar. You can't be idle with business. Yes. Yuwu and Yilu groan secretly, they quietly retreat. Wang Yuan looked at the two figures. Xiang Grui's affairs do not need him to worry about, but the imperial examinations matter, then he has to think a little bit. Wang Yuan walked through Hengwu courtyard, and then passed through a few entrances. Here is a place of Langhuan blessing. This Langhuan blessed land is the Wang family's collection of books. Many of the secret books that Wang Yuan has searched over the years are also placed in Langhuan blessed land, many of which are true orphans. Far away, Wang Yuan saw a small grey shadow flashing away, very agile, slipping towards the Langhuan blessed land deep in the stone mountain. Wang Tongzhen has already come from the county government office. The vermilion-red official uniform reveals the joy, and the smile on his face can't hide it, as if he has met with great joy. A true dragon appeared outside Lanja County. This matter is so true that the villagers of several villages and towns can testify. This matter must be reported to the official. This is Jiarui. The official is benevolent, so that such Jiarui can live. Mentioned the news that I learned in the yamen in the morning, the conviction of the master was blushing. The 5 spirits appeared in the world. It stands to reason that the 5 spirits are auspicious. Even if the beasts in Hengwu courtyard are frightened, they will not be scared to death. At this time, in the inner wing, there is a square couch, covered with fine hibiscus brocade, piled with thin brocade quilts, a fleshy little girl lying on the couch with 4 legs, her little head wandering around. Looking at it, Sons wearing dark blue plain clothes teased the little things on the couch with a little smile. She just raised her eyes and glanced at the words of the master convict. The master was also looking at the young girl lovingly at this time. His interest was just right, and the blood pressure rose a little when he heard the words. All dead. Closed his eyes for a while before muttering. Fortunately, today I got the birth of a true dragon, and luckily passed this level, otherwise the master's hat will be taken. Talking about Wang Tongjuan's expression was a little unhappy. Madam, the matter of this house is entrusted to the wife by the husband, but now you reading www.yuyuganshu.com has caused such a catastrophe, and it almost hurt. Master is blaming the concubine, then the master can choose to entrust the stewardship to the little Humiizi in the future, and the concubine will not care about it. It will prevent the master's eyes from saving too much. Sun put down his bare hands on the swaddle, put his hands in front of him, and stared at the master convict with beautiful eyes. The master sentenced him to be a little uncomfortable at once. Sun's eyes were really a bit dazed, and he sat down and snorted with a crooked mouth. The lady said nothing about what these things do. One thing belongs to the same thing, and the husband does not mean to blame the lady. This stewardship power, the master convict really dare not take it from the Sun family. First, the Sun family has never been a fuel-efficient lamp. Secondly, in the future, he has to rely on this lady a lot. The Sun cast a glance and moved his butt, and some uncomfortable conciliation to the master. He just tapped it lightly to expose the matter. So how is the master going to report to the officials about the real dragon and beast? Naturally, with the transshipment envoy, several adults from his who will play your majesty together. Well, although the master has the upper hand in this matter, these adults are indispensable to take advantage of this matter, otherwise the benefits may not be eaten in the mouth, but will cause a lot of trouble. Sun's eyes are a bit deep. She obviously has some doubts about the birth of the real dragon. The horrible demon aura is permeated before. I am afraid it is this demon dragon. Whether it is a real dragon or a demon dragon, it will inevitably attract a lot of attention. Is rare in the real dragon world, it represents too many things. At the same time, Sun's eyes were a little strange. Yu Guang looked at the direction of Langhuan Futi with some meaning, and she seemed to be aware of what happened in Langhuan Futi. 300 small works. Obviously, this Qingluan template will be more powerful than the Jinjiao template. Qingluan is a genus of phoenix. The most powerful place of the phoenix genus is the fire of nirvana. That is the innate sacred fire comparable to the true fire of Taoist samadhi. Qingluan template. After redeeming the Qingluan template, you will get the right to use the Qingluan template. The time is a stick of incense. After the incense is cooled down, you can randomly get an ability of the Qingluan template. Wang Yuan thought for a while and didn't redeem it immediately. 300 little work is not easy. Lanja County is not peaceful at this time. The tomb of the demon leader was born hundreds of years ago, attracting many martial artists, including people from the 6 gates of the government to search. As everyone expected, the tomb of the demon leader was indeed found, but it caused a terrible disaster. The demon leader did not know how evil he had practiced in his lifetime, and he was buried in the place where Julian gathers, but he became a zombie, was attacked by many people in the tomb, and was immediately shaken up, causing many people in the world to suffer heavy losses. Many people in the rivers and lakes were scratched by zombies, infected with corpse poison, and began to poison surrounding villages and towns. Wuliang outside Tianmen town, night fell, dark clouds covering the moon. Earlier, the lights in Tianmen town had already been extinguished. Even the largest and most prosperous restaurant in Tianmen town, it was closed at this time, and the curious wolf howling sounded from outside the town, and the whole town seemed to fall into silence. As the moon hits the sky, in the woods outside Tianmen town, a cold wind blows out of the woods, and the mist suddenly rises, like a layer of black veil. In the shadows, heavy black shadows jump out of it. Under the cold moonlight, these figures were pale and unpopular. The corpse smells, and the blood is filled. Shusha. These figures looked extremely heavy, with their feet on the ground, but their seemingly heavy bodies were unusually light. Under the hillside beside the forest, watching this scene from a distance, the complexion of each figure changed greatly, and the whole body was soaked with cold sweat. They are a group of martial arts righteous people who came to subdue demons and demons. There is no shortage of golden knives, nanhai, and innate such great masters, many of them even have innate wonders. But how can the innate wonders compare to this kind of monster with steel and iron bones? Many people tightened the animal skin bags in their hands. The animal skin bags faintly smelled of blood. It's over. These are all black stiffs, and they can bounce freely. I am afraid that black dog blood is not very useful. At this time on the hillside, a thin, middle-aged Taoist man with a long banner in his hand had already shivered with his mouth covered, his face was full of chagrin. What, Lai Wuchang, you are not called Mai's fortune-telling, you have nothing to miss. Next to, a few famous martial arts masters almost jumped up and gritted their teeth when they heard the words, almost wishing to pierce a few holes in the middle-aged Taoist with the sword in their hands. Leader, seniors, poor Dao never thought that according to the truth, it is impossible for a corpse bitten by a zombie and infected to be promoted to a black stiff in such a short period of time, at most only a white stiff, unless... Speaking of unless, a trace of fear flashes on Lai Wuchang's face. Unless something. The 7 or 8 decent people from all over the world suddenly felt a little uncomfortable. Especially the first big man wearing a brocade suit and a face with Chinese characters, his eyes were a little bit irritated. This time, the righteous alliance is to deal with these zombies, it is him, the leader of the martial arts. Unless the zombies who bite these quacks are already close to demons. At this time, not far from the woods, an elegant figure appeared in the black mist. He was 13 or 14 years old, wearing a pure yang tao robe, and a small blue gourd on his waist was quite conspicuous. Zombies are divided into white zombies, black zombies, jumping zombies, and flying corpses. The 5th type is almost demon. They are also called fire and drought. It is rumored that this type of zombie not only has the power to slay dragons, but can also extradite the plague god. Wang Yuan's expression is a bit subtle, and zombies with advanced levels are rare. Every time such zombies appear, they will cause catastrophe. Although the land of 9 yins is extremely dangerous, it is impossible for a 300-year-old demon cult leader to evolve into a flying corpse. There must be a secret in it. Some thoughts flashed in Wang Yuan's mind, but no matter what troubles he had in it, since he wanted to poison sentient beings, he would have to be stunned. What's more, Lanja County is Wang's territory. In the woods, as the figures jumped closer, they smelled the strange smell in the air, and the ferocious eyes instantly turned blood red, and they rushed towards the hillside. A group of martial arts masters suddenly turned pale, and the blood of the black dog in the animal skin bag in their hands turned into hidden weapons and threw them out. The sound of breaking through the sky is endless. Bang bang bang! With a trace of yin air escaping, the black stiff head flew out. It works! Many martial arts masters were overjoyed, and even the leader of the Chinese clothing leader looked much better, but in a flash, his face turned pale, and his pupils suddenly tightened. Although the black stiff was affected, they quickly stood upright, and a group of figures rushed towards the martial arts people under the hillside with a cloudy wind. The heavy cloudy winds they brought up did not affect the ordinary people of the rivers and lakes. Some of them realized the innate wonders of the martial arts. So Lao's complexion changed drastically, and he felt that countless yin wind and ghost howls filled his mind, and his whole body was almost frozen by yin qi. Innate warriors thoroughly understand the innate wonders, get through the orifice of heaven and earth, and become more sensitive to a certain extent. This is an advantage, but sometimes it can also become a disadvantage. Rumbling. In an instant, over the woods, the cold moon seemed to be covered by a layer of black clouds, and there were several thunders that made everyone deaf. The thunder light above my head, the vast thunder energy filled with the hazy spiritual consciousness of several innate martial artists. Among the dazzling blue thunder, Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com saw only a dozen black zombies that rushed out and was hit instantly. The thunder light was short and medium. Lost the ability to move within time. Then, one after another, thunders appeared in the depths of the sky, and in the horrified eyes of the martial arts people, they fell one after another. All the zombies fell to the ground in the mist, and there were no more standing zombies in the woods. Under the thunder light, a figure wearing a pure Yang Taoist robe was faintly seen and glanced lightly at the many black zombies that had fallen on the ground, then turned and left. At the same place, many people in the arena have suddenly awakened. Although it was just a glance, the many creeping martial arts leaders on the hillside, as well as several famous elders, had their eyes hot. Who is this? Then could it be a celestial warrior who has surpassed the innate realm? What celestial warrior, that is at least a Taoist above a refiner? Practitioners are not common, and Lai Wuchang, as the inheritor of Maya's psychic lineage, has some insights. I know the division of some spiritual realms in bits and pieces. Inflow and inflow are a watershed. Before inflow, it is divided into acquired and congenital. After enter the stream, there are realms such as Shulu, refining master, heavenly master, and true sovereign. I don't know if I relied on Wuchang again, but I can handle these black rigors casually, at least I am a master cultivator. His eyes were a little cautious and a little envious, but he looked around in a blink of an eye, and his eyes rolled away. Leader, seniors, the corpse monsters are dangerous, but we are not the enemy. The poor must go find some help first, and say goodbye. His figure flickered, and in the blink of an eye in the cold moonlight, his figure disappeared. The martial arts leader and several old elders were taken aback, and all of them turned black. This time, they were fooled by the Mai god, and they almost lost their lives. This account hasn't been settled yet, the Mai god just ran away. This is a Shinto treasure. Any mountain spirit, ghost, or monk combined with this god, is expected to hold the position of the mountain god. Nyhutu mountain is the smallest, but it is also a god. Not every mountain can give birth to the of the mountain. Wang Yuan was displeased, and the purifying heart talisman appeared outside his body, turning into a divine light, instantly dispelling the scarlet divine elixir. At the same time, the sweet smell that permeated the mountain temple suddenly disappeared. This mountain has been refined by the fox demon for many years, and it has long since been abandoned. There are demons and evil spirits inside. In addition, as a monk of the talisman sect, his own practice is also the Dao of talisman, and Wang Yuan doesn't like this kind of scarlet goddess. Shenzhen is, to some extent, the evolution of Fulu. When Wang Yuan's Dao scene rises to a certain level, he has evolved the true talisman of his life, and it is not difficult to reach the height of canonization of A with a talisman. It might be possible to consider one or two when replacing it with a god level like Ziking Sheniao. Gods of this level, once they are fully refined and mastered, they can take the opportunity to transform into the body of the innate great god. At this moment, the mountain temple suddenly overcast and stormy. There seemed to be countless yin whines in his throat. Deep in the mountain temple, a thick corpse gas rushed out of the cracked gap. Can no longer wait for ambush, this hideous figure jumped out of the ground in the corpse. Seems to know that it has been exposed, this figure no longer hides. Black energy swept straight towards Wang Yuan, but Wang Yuan's expression remained unchanged, his figure shifted, and he easily avoided the corpse energy coming from the slaughter. Wang Yuan has long been on guard. Senran and dark corpses are filled with air, and the old corpses hiding in the ground have already revealed their traces. It was a figure in a black robe, long hair shawl, and slightly white hair between the temples. This is a very handsome middle-aged man with a strange pale color on his face. This is the master of the demon cult 300 years ago. At this time, its gaze did not look like an ordinary zombie, but instead seemed to be wise. After seeing Wang Yuan, a hoarse voice suddenly sounded. What a Taoist priest, he is somewhat capable, able to see through the layout of our waiting, but today you still can't be born here. This is the chance for this seat to be able to capture a Taoist priest like you. This is a corpse demon. The zombies have become refined. The yin wind spirit that it brought up all over its body manifested itself, and it was stronger than that demon fox. At this time, it stared at Wang Yuan with blood-red eyes, telling it instinctively that it would be of great benefit to it to the blood of the Taoist in front of it. Above the temple, the rapid yin qi was madly swallowed by this corpse demon, and its vitality skyrocketed, and it swooped toward Wang Yuan without any shy. But this kind of Taoism is not enough to be hard-headed in front of the poor Tao. Wang Yuan looked at this mad corpse demon coldly. The corpse energy emitted by this corpse demon is still a little far away from the refining realm. 300 years of cultivation has allowed this zombie to advance by leaps and bounds, but it is just cannon fodder and has no suitable inheritance. No matter how pure the corpse chi is, it's still just a target with the heel and foot far more than the ordinary corpse jumping. Zhenhai Fu. A touch of Wang Yuan's hand, 12 talismans with light blue aura appeared in the mountain temple. This is a one-time magic talisman. After the last time the Lingjiang water god was suppressed, there was still a part left, and it was just used to deal with this corpse demon at this time. Bang bang bang! The light blue talisman turned into a cold-colored bead, like a streamer bombarding the flying corpse monster, and a part of the bones of the corpse monster was directly broken. Rumbling! The sound of falling bombarded the ground, and the entire mountain god's golden body collapsed in an instant. On the wall of mountain temple, a big hole was penetrated. The power of Zhenhai talisman was too heavy, especially after Wang Yuan became a dragon. Zhenhai talisman was further understood, and there was a trace of dragon god's power in it. It's good to be blasted off casually. When Zhenhai talisman is truly transformed into a magic talisman, this blow is definitely not a fracture. The corpse demon soon reappeared in the dark after being blasted off. His body was full of rich rotten corpse chi, his body was pitted, his bones were broken, dark green blood was flowing out, and his eyes stared at Wang Yuan extremely ferociously. It's a good method, but this method will not do anything to this seat. In fierce, his whole body burst out, turning into a stream of light and rushing towards Wang Yuan. Zhenhai runes are deep, and any monk who is hit will probably be half disabled, but for the corpse demon, the physical disability is extremely normal. Their physical bodies will soon be able to recover under the moisture of the epidermal corpse armor. This is also the land of Nine Yin, the home of the corpse demon. It can continuously absorb the underground yin energy to restore the corpse energy. I still don't have a long memory. His eyes were indifferent, and the blue gourd that had been tied around his waist had been in his hands for some time, and he twisted the gourd plug away. In a short time, an ice blue brilliance erupted from the gourd's mouth, just in front of the corpse demon coming straight forward, and easily turned it into ice cubes and froze in midair. Boom! Fell to the ground instantly. That strong and incomparable cold air filled the entire mountain temple. Under this cold moon, the huge mountain temple was covered with a layer of blue cold ice crystals at this time. The highest quality artifacts are very magical, and the 12 sky blue divine sands contained within are extremely powerful. Reading www.yuyuganshu.com instantly ice-sealed the corpse demon, that is, the corpse energy armor under the corpse demon gas was completely ice-sealed. Sky blue god sand is one of the 5 elements god sand. It is extremely cold, except for a part of Taoist god fire. After being frozen, the ending is doomed. After freezing the corpse demon transformed by the demon leader, Wang Yuan ignored the corpse demon in the frozen state. Suppressing this corpse monster is just a matter of raising his hand. It's just that things went so well. Wang Yuan is a little uneasy. The appearance of those black zombies is unlikely to be controlled by a simple corpse. Exchange the Qingluan template. There was a flash of light above Wang Yuan's palm, and a huge, incomparable blue luan suddenly appeared in front of his eyes. The blue flames flowed on the panel, and life and destruction were performed in it, seeming to be able to destroy the sky. If necessary, he can incarnate this tyrannical and terrifying blue Luan bird at any time. This Qingluan divine bird is only more terrifying than this golden dragon. His eyes flashed, Wang Yuan fell into the tomb where the 9 yin gathered, his figure flashed towards the tomb. The cemetery is gloomy, and the corpse spirit is gradually fading. In Wang Yuan's gaze, the empty, luxurious tomb was soon revealed. Wang Yuan's promotion this time didn't work. There was no other existence behind this old corpse demon, but several monks saw the direction of the mountain temple from a distance. The figure that was about to approach hesitated, and many of them retreated. The purple chi gathers clouds, and the purple chi is hidden inside. How can this kind of existence appear here? This kind of life is supreme and noble. I am afraid that there will be a guardian on the side. It is better to be more cautious. It is better to explore first and avoid trouble.